name is Alex Asher. I'm the CEO of LearnCube. We provide solutions for language schools and language tutors in the form of our online school software and our virtual classroom. And so we're really exposed to a lot of different tutors, a lot of different teachers, a lot of different organizations and what works for them. So that's what I wanted to continue sort of bring to the table, is sharing that experience. And I'm joined with the one and only Herbert Gerzer from herbertgerzer.com. He is a digital marketing expert, but not just in anything. This is specifically, his niche is language schools and helping them grow their business online. So we're really lucky to have this partnership, and we really enjoy these conversations. So thank you for joining us. Now, our first bit of context is we have someone that's fairly new online. They may have had some experience in the past, but they're kind of, I guess, starting again from the ground up. They're starting to work on their they came with the idea that they might look at YouTube as a way of getting their message and their ideas out there. They've come from teaching even at university level previously, but right now they see a really big opportunity in primary education. That's the area that they're kind of really interested in pursuing. But because it's new, they're kind of looking for ideas. And what we want to do is maybe come up with a couple of action steps for this person so that they can build their business. So not Fantastic. An unusual request.
No, not at all. Yeah, I mean, I think Marie has done a great job in identifying YouTube as a possible channel for getting the word out. It's good that she has a clear niche, so to say, primary school children. And I assume it's more either tutoring or
it's one-to-one
French classes for primary school students, and so really her target audience is going to be the parents of these primary school students. And I guess you really need to think of, okay, where are these parents hanging out online, and what are they thinking when they're deciding on what extracurricular activities to sign their children up for, and playing on those wishes, desires, thinking about the future for their children, and then having that in your messaging, on your website, and of course in your YouTube videos. I can imagine that some short YouTube videos of example classes, fun, interactive, can really show potential students or potential customers what your classes are like, if they were to sign up for one-on-one tutoring for their child.
Yeah, really good, Herbert. I'm also thinking that there could be some really interesting channels. So I would sort of still go back. I know that we talk about this a lot, but primary school students, that's still a very large niche. It's really a category. So I would still really encourage someone to really go down to, where are these primary school students? Are they in France? Are they in England? Where do you have a home advantage? Let's just assume that they're French primary school students living in rural parts of France, just for argument's sake. That at least gives you a whole bunch of these are the frames. I don't go into cities because maybe there's a lot of competition there. Maybe I'm really focusing, because it's online teaching as well, I'm going to look at rural France. And why? Because I have this amazing connection with rural France. I'm making this up, but there's got to be something that separates you apart from everyone else that could teach kids French, or maybe French kids, French primary school kids English. There must be something that differentiates you and makes you unique. And then that colors what you might do in your YouTube links. And I was immediately thinking that if I'm a parent, one of the things I need is entertainment for my kids. So maybe that YouTube channel as well is about, hey, if I put on an episode of Marie's how to learn 1, 2, 3 in English, that's going to shut my kid up for half an hour. That's worth a lot of money, but you're giving it to me for free. Now, let's say that you built out that, then you're educating the parents on hey, okay, this teacher, I really trust her. Man, my kids love her. wouldn't they love to do lessons with Marie? And then Marie, it's going to be so much easier for you to sell your lessons because they've already built up a rapport and a relationship with you. So I'm not saying it's the best idea, but at least it's one idea that you might want to try.
Yeah, I mean, I have to say, as a one-person, tutoring business, it's really Marie that's going to sell herself and her courses to the parents. So it's important that you are the face of your school, of your tutoring business. So you're in the videos, you're on your website, your face is there. So you really want to kind of make a name for yourself as the go-to French tutor for primary school children.
Fantastic. This is really good. Now, we do have a couple of other attendees, and we can come back to any questions that Marie might have a little bit later, but wonderful to let us kind of brainstorm, so thanks for that opportunity. Ben, I think you were one of our second and Elena third. If you have a question, could you just pop your hand up and we'll bring you up to the front. You can explain a little bit about your context. We should probably have enough time for 2 or 3 questions over the half hour that we have available for us. Okay, Ben, let's bring you up.
Hello.
Hi, Ben.
Hi, Ben.
How are you both?
Very well.
Excellent, thanks.
Good. Just to let you know, we're really enjoying your videos at the moment. Very informative.
Great to hear.
So it's a general question regarding, we're a newish startup. We've only been legally practicing the past 6 weeks. We actually took a partner on in Europe, which was very unexpected because our target market is predominantly Southeast Asia. We're based in Thailand. And it's a question really to focus, to choose a real niche and with a limited budget. We're not a huge startup. We have around 8 to 9 teachers. We're using LearnCube's material, which obviously is we can cover all bases with learners. And with a budget of up to, say, $500 per month for the next 6 months, which could then step up, what would be your thoughts of this will have a great impact, and obviously with return on investment to bring students onto the platform as soon as possible?
By the way, thanks so much, Ben. I think it might have been yourself. We actually got that's on our email.
Yes,
yes,
that's me.
That really helped, by the way.
Definitely.
Thank you.
So, Herbert, do you want to
sure.
have a crack?
Definitely. Well, Ben, I guess it really depends. First of all, you need to nail down that niche because that will guide everything else, especially if you're looking into investing into paid advertising. I know that in Southeast Asia, for example, some countries are very active on Facebook and Instagram, and some aren't that active. They have their own social media platforms or apps that they use. So really knowing, okay, which region or which country, and within that country, which subset am I going to target is going to be really, really crucial before planning. Okay, I'm going to spend $300 on Google, $300 on Facebook, etc. So I don't know if you've had any first thoughts or ideas about your niche market.
So again, it was quite unexpected. We were really going to focus. I have a background in recruitment, so I have a lot of contacts with senior HR, MDs. But again, it's the wrong time of year to really target these companies to get instant students in, because of budgets will be next month, in the next few months. So it's kind of left us in a bit of a with a bit of a conundrum, I'd say. And we really want to get it right the first time. So we haven't really looked to focus as much in Southeast Asia because of this partner that we took on, but now we're ready to really go at it. And it was looking really for recommendations of what your thoughts would be to growing markets at the moment, and obviously paying for that service with higher tuition fees.
Maybe let's start also just by maybe helping with some reflective questions for you, Ben, because then that'll reflect some of the answers you'll get from today. Would you say that you've kind of mentioned your talents are in B2B, which also kind of indicates that's an area, at least in terms of an area that you really understand. So you already might know where those people hang out.
Yes.
Now, am I right then that if I said, hey, do you know much about primary school students in rural France? Would your answer be not much, right? So
much.
That already tells me that it's probably hinting towards something you already know, because you've then got something helpful. Going back with what Herbert says as well, if we know that the way that startups succeed, particularly initially, is by the face of their founders and their unique personality and approach, then you're going to resonate a lot better with HR people possibly in Europe than you will be with primary school students in Southeast Asia.
Yes.
And if we take that as true, then that helps us narrow maybe where you should start looking. And I think also be a little bit careful about a false saving of activity doesn't always mean a great business. So I can be really busy, but not have a great business. So you may not want to fill the time between budgets in getting a whole bunch of people that might end up being a distraction for the business you really want.
Yes. Yes.
So then let's really get to the heart of it. Is if it is, let's not call it B2B, because it may not be B2B, but let's say that you understand professionals and HR people in particular. That's a fantastic. Already, I can see an interesting niche.
It's a great niche. It is a great niche.
So I'm loving that already. But let's just assume then, if that's the truth, which region do you want those HR people to be? Are they going to be? Is it Europe?
So basically, it would specifically be Southeast Asia. 90% of the contacts I have are within Thailand, but we stretch to Singapore, Korea, but covering most of Asia, but predominantly Southeast Asia, with Thailand as would be the higher percentage of my contacts.
Well, if you think about an arrow, there's always a pointy end of it. So it doesn't mean that where you finish is only going to be Thailand, but you've got a really pointy end there, which is HR managers living in Thailand. Now, what's the problem that they have? Is it speaking, writing, pronunciation? Is there a pointier edge of that we could look at, Ben?
Well, this was the issue that we had, because it would be more to target them to open up accounts with their companies, rather than just the HR manager to maybe offer company trainings, this kind of field. But at the moment, we're hitting slightly a bit of a dead end with it because of, as I said, budgets. Yes. With the financial situation as well.
One thing I've seen work really well though, Ben, is actually when you have people in a company that are part of even if they're private students, maybe then, whatever. If let's say that you've got 50 of these HR people, their companies are not working with you, but 50 of these HR people are. Do you think that there's a good chance that they'll be more likely to recommend you to do the teaching for their companies?
Yeah, to spread the word.
So one of the things I have seen is that people get leads from their B2C people because
private students,
those B2C people are like an opener. They don't always have to be the decision maker, but they're like, hey, Herbert works for you. He's had a great experience with me. I've been teaching really well. Have you thought about, and actually Herbert, it was so happy with my service that actually he suggested I get in touch with you. So you kind of get the end there. So perhaps that's a way that you could look at using this time really efficiently.
Or even creating some specific course English for HR professionals, and you could even then put some marketing dollars behind that and promote it either via Facebook and Instagram, or even on LinkedIn, because HR managers are always on LinkedIn. So
it's a professional Facebook. Yeah,
exactly. I think that really is the lowest hanging fruit, so to say, because you already have experience there. It's not going to take you a lot of work to come up with a nice package or a course and some wording and messaging behind that. So yeah, I would look closer into that. I mean, you could expand that to like business professionals, but obviously that's a much broader market.
Yeah, we'll let you know how we get on.
Cool.
Yeah, great.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Now we're just going to open the opportunity again to any of the other attendees that are with us. If you'd like to ask a question, we're happy to kind of bring you up. But while people are busy kind of writing their questions, Herbert, I've got a question for you, which is, how do you think about marketing budgets? Now, we heard before that, hey, I've got a budget. Let's say it's $500 a month for the next 6 months. How do you, I mean, people come to you with, hey, this is my advertising budget. Herbert, I'd like you to spend that. How do you think about when to use it? Because it may not be equal. So I was really interested in digging into how you think about budgets, and because, it might not be putting it all equally every day. It might be, you might have a system or a way of thinking about it.
Sure. So, it depends on the school and how the courses are structured. Some schools have weekly intakes, monthly intakes, semester intakes. For B2B. There are certain times of the year where it's very quiet, like now, until mid-January or so. So you've got to keep that in mind. But what I like to do generally is to have campaigns running 24/7, 365 days a year. Even if it's just a retargeting campaign, you always want to keep in front of potential customers and students, even during the holidays, even during Christmas and whatever. They see that they're spending time online, they're scrolling through the internet, and they'll see your ad. And while they might not be buying in that instance, you will keep reminding them of your school and your services. So, but yes, we do shift budgets dependent on when the busiest times, or when most of the students enroll, and we allocate the budgets accordingly. Yeah.
I'm still curious about this, Herbert, though, because, for example, if I didn't have much information, I said, hey, Herbert, here's my startup. I want you to spend some money with you. I've got $5,000 that I'd like to spend over the next 10 months to make it easy. Are you going to want to spend $500 each month for the next 10 months? Tell me about how you think about this so that we can really provide some advice on this.
Sure. So no, I wouldn't split it up evenly into 10 months. So $500. If you have a budget, a couple of thousand plus, then really you want to be spending much more at the start, because you will be able to collect more data and feedback from your market so that you can make decisions based on data. Once you know, okay, this audience is working, these creatives, photos and videos are working, this ad copy is working, then you can continue with that. And just spending, I don't know, $100 a month, and for 20 months or whatever it is, there's a lot of there's too much experimenting and guessing involved than every single month, because you don't gather enough information.
Surely there must be some economies of scale, though, in terms of, like, I 100% understand where you're coming from. Like, if you come with a budget too small at the beginning, you don't learn you don't learn enough fast enough. So you're wasting much more money for the longest period.
Exactly.
However, I'm curious as well, like, if I've got this $5,000 budget, are you wanting, just to put an extreme in, am I going to be spending $4,000 in the first 3 months and then only have the last half? Like, how do you think about what's enough to be able to test a market and test some assumptions?
Right. Again, it depends how niche your market is. If you're only doing, for example, regional or local business ads within your city or your town, then obviously you don't need as much as if you want to test different regions. Obviously, Latin America, Brazil, Eastern Europe, Southeast Asia, they're all different markets, and you have to have different campaigns for each region. So you have to take into account your target audiences, the budget you have available, and based on that. But really, you do want a good chunk at the start to be able to test as many audiences, as many ad angles and photos and videos as possible. So you have a lot of variation, and then you allow Google's algorithm or Facebook's algorithm to play around with all of that variation to see the best possible combinations. And then you're able to decide after a week or two, all right, this is working, this isn't, and then you can cut the budget. And then you can actually scale down, so to say.
Because you're more efficient.
Because you're more efficient, and then scale up again as soon as you're getting leads and conversions. Of course, that's the goal, is to scale up because you're getting a positive return on investment.
Great. So if what I heard out of this, Herbert, is it really depends on the number of experiments you want to run. Now,
Correct.
If I come to you and I say, I've got no idea, I've got an unlimited budget, well, you're like, cool, well, let's do a lot of experiments and figure it out. If I come to you and say, I know very little about my segment, but I've only got a small budget, well, that small budget, you're going to have to be a lot more targeted. You can't run 10 experiments. You're going to have to say well, probably you'd reflect back to me, Herb, and you'd be like, look, we could probably do maybe 2 or 3. So you're going to have to come with me some really good best guesses on where to put this money first, because I'm going to have to spend effectively 3 times the amount, and it could be 10 times the amount if it's 10 times the number of experiments. Is that what I'm hearing from you, Herbert?
Yeah,
it really depends on how many experiments
absolutely
you're making?
Correct. Yeah.
Right.
And so if you want to target 10 markets, but you don't have the budget to do that at the start, then you have to do more research and decide, okay, what am I going to target first? And then let that experiment run, so to say. And then at the end of that, or at the end of 1 or 2 weeks, then you can try a different market. So obviously, if you have a lower budget, it's going to take longer to test a lot of different hypotheses.
Yeah. And again, so that's why if you're start with what you know, because you're more likely to make a better guess of where your market is.
Yeah. Before experimenting in foreign countries and markets you haven't dealt with before. Yeah.
Really great advice. Thanks for that, Herbert. Okay. So do we have any more questions? We've got another couple of minutes. So if anyone did have a final question, pop your hand up or put it in the chat. We'd be happy to answer it for you. Last chance, hands up. Otherwise, they're going to have to ding, 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 call it.
Wait until next week.
Exactly. Wait a whole week. How boring. It looks like it is. We're going to wait until next week. So let's finish this up here. So look, thank you so much for joining us today. We really enjoy these conversations, and you force us to think of new ideas and ways to approach it. So we really love your attention and for you to join us. Please subscribe to the LearnCube YouTube channel. We do post these recordings so you can learn more there. You can learn what other people have asked and some of the solutions we thought could be helpful. And if you've got feedback or you'd like to get in touch, you can contact me at support@learncube.com. And also you can catch Herbert on his website, herbertgerzer.com.
Fantastic.
Thanks again, everyone.
See you next.